Hello there guys, it's your boy Deku here, back again on a video, and today I'm going to do What If Deku Was Abandoned, part 34 and finale. Hope you enjoy it. So like always, a small recap is needed, but if you somehow missed last part, click an I button right here. And even though I know this is the finale, let's try reaching 600 likes, just to give this story a good farewell because you guys did enjoy it. Anyway, so the recap. So last part we covered the 1A vs 1B fight, and this time Deku did not participate because, well, he's too powerful for the others. So the event went differently because Momo is stronger, so she won her fight, and Shinso had only to fight once. And after the fight, it's revealed that Shinso will join 1A in the next year, taking Deku's place, because the only reason he's in UA is to get his license. He already have one. And after hearing that, Mina teased him a bit and asked him why. Deku tried to lie, but they soon figure out it's because of Nijire. And the League of Villains still have their fight against the Liberation Army, and they have a much easier time than the anime. During this time, Nijire figure out that something is bothering Deku. She confront him. At first he deny it, then he confess that he thinks that he's putting too much on Nijire's plate with Eri and the recent events. But Nijire assure him that he's not forcing her to do anything, and that put Deku at ease. Then you have Christmas and this, and Deku giving Nijire a promise ring. And the next day, while the teachers and Deku are in a meeting discussing the recent order from the Hero Safety Committee, Deku told them that he already predicted that they were going to do this, especially after the recent events. After that he went back to his dorm. Nijire told him that her parents want to see him, and they took Eri with them. So when they arrived, Eri was a bit scared. Nijire calmed her down and she called her mom, and that led to her parents to tell them to explain. So they did, and after some time, Deku was able to sense Ryuko's key. He went to pick her up, and they have a good family day, or evening. Then Ryuko and her team, you know what team I mean, do their work study. They do their mission with Selkie, and this time Oraka was not forced to push through her limits because Deku was able to catch the plane. Then he revealed that if he wanted to, he could have already stopped the thieves the second they arrived. But he thought against it because his classmates need experience. So when they're done and they return to UA, Deku confront Aizawa because he seemed mad. Aizawa told him they took him to Tartarus, and he was able to talk with Mike and Aizawa's old friend. He was able to get how the doctor looked, the one that created Nomos, or vaguely, because the consciousness of their friend is not that present. And after Deku told them or threatened them that if they don't give him the order to release Aizawa's friend from his prison, he will do it without their permission. And since Kamino event, they give Deku the green light, and to make it as painless as possible, Deku used a new technique that he forbid Aizawa or Mike to tell Nijire about. And basically almost like a Hakai that Goku used in the manga against Zamasu, but this attack have a huge toll on his body. It completely broke his right hand and actually erased a bit of his fingers. But he was able to heal himself quickly, and after that they returned to UA. Deku told Nijire what happened, and after that he got a phone call from Shigaraki. They talked for a bit, and after that Deku decided he need to amp up his training, and the area around him was completely broken because of that. So that made him slip and almost getting hurt by his own attacks. But suddenly something in Deku snapped, and he was able to stop all the attacks. Then he collapsed, and after that he told Nijire how it feel. Like it's not the first time he felt that way. It's just that he forgot it because he lost hope. He didn't fight for his life anymore. But now, he does. So after this event, Nizo told him that he cannot train this hard or he will blow the other students' cover. Then Nizo told him about the Liberation Army and how much number they have, 100,000. So Deku tell him his plan and they also inform Aizawa. After that he went out for a bit to prepare, and when he returned he tell his classmate that he will be training outside of UA from now on. They understand, but each time Deku return he's barely standing. So Aizawa tell the teachers one by one where Deku is located, just in case. Then one day when class 1A are watching TV, the scene changed and they saw the League of Villains attacking Deku and Shigaraki managed to kill him. And after seeing that, Nijire screams, and I think that's it of the summary, so let's begin. So after Nijire saw that and screams, she immediately passed out. 1A quickly rushed toward her and took her to recovery girl, and Eri is just a sobbing mess. And she starts asking them what she saw just now was real. They don't know how to tell her, so she starts crying and Aizawa tries his best to calm her down. But after a few minutes of sobbing, she fell asleep because she was tired mentally. And everyone, and I mean everyone, were in disbelief. His sudden death was too much for them to understand or to process, and especially for Ryuko. She's a hero, so she learned how to hurt her nerves, but this is too much. Her sidekicks try her best to calm her down, and soon after that Miruko shows up. Even though she's not that type of helping people mentally, she's trying her best to be there for her. And pretty much anywhere else, a lot of people are feeling down because most of them, especially the quirkless ones, actually look up to him. He's the first quirkless that was actually able to become a hero. So this led for people to ask question, why Deku was there? He's supposed to be at UA, right? So the media quickly surround UA, demanding answers. So Nizu from all the people and some staff start answering them, but one question stick out the most. Why Deku was outside of UA? He's still a student, so why he was out? Nizu tell them, yes, technically he's still a student. So as one, I will not let him go outside, but as a pro hero, I cannot stop him. The media were shocked. What? Pro hero? Nizu nod and confirm them, and he tell them when he got his license. And if you have any questions, you can ask the Hero Safety Committee. They can confirm it. And in Ryuko's city, there is also some reporters surrounding her agency asking questions. But luckily the pro heroes, I mean Ryuko and Ekshot, were there to tell them to give her some space. She just lost her son. This is not the time or place to talk about it. They can understand, so they left them be. Ryuko thanked them through tears. So fast forward a couple of hours and Nijire woke up. She asked her recovery girl what she is. She told her the infirmary, of course. At first she told her she had a weird dream. But after she saw the look on the recovery girl, she knew that was not a dream. So she broke down crying, and the recovery girl tried her best to comfort her. Meanwhile, the League of Villains are basically praised for what they did, even though Registro saw Deku as someone that he might recruit because Deku did openly speak about this society and how broken it is. But on the other hand, since he knows he's a hero, he knows that he will stop on his plans, so he rather get rid of him. So with this, we fast forward the week. During this time, well, Nijire is not herself. She's not the cheerful, carefree girl that she was. She basically spent all her time in Deku's room, only leaving it when she needs something to eat. Sometimes. Most of the time, it's either Momo or Yu that bring her food. Eri is in the same boat. But since they don't want to put too much on Nijire's plate, Mirio and Aizawa step in to give Nijire time to breathe and process. Her parents did drop by and confront both of them, I mean Eri and Nijire. Then one day Aizawa brings someone with him, and Nijire know him, he's Deku's therapist. Of course the teacher asks him what he's doing here. He tells them he's here as a favor and to make sure that at least he doesn't have anything on his conscience. They told him to explain and he told them that he already met Nijire, so he wants to confront her as a favor for Deku, and also Deku did pay him in advance for a couple of his sessions, so that's why he meant by a favor and the rest. They understand and they let him meet Eri and Nijire, and Aizawa lead them to an empty room and he makes sure that no one was there or follow them just in case. Nijire at first was a bit against it, but after some pushing she caved in and followed him. Same for Eri. When they enter and they close the door, the therapist starts with telling Nijire that even though he doesn't know Deku as much as her, he did grow attached to him. So he knows her pain and he can sympathize with her actions. She gave him a nod, then she asked him, "Why are we here?" The therapist sighed and told her that I don't know if he predicted this, but he gave me this a couple of days before he passed away. And when he gave it to me, he told me to come this day at this hour precisely. I know that at this point of time you don't want to hear it, but he told me that I need to read it to you and the later one. Nijire nodded and tell him to begin. He opened the letter and he began. So I don't know how to start this off, but I guess, hello Nijire, Eri, Mr. Therapist. So if you're reading this, I guess you know that I died, but I'm not. The therapist paused, same for Eri and Nijire. The therapist reads it again and he's not lying. He said that he's not dead. So he continued, and Deku basically told him that what they saw was a setup. He planned to fake his death with the help of the League of Villains. And I know that you saw my body getting disintegrated, but you have to remember, they have a member that can create clones, so... But I know that's not reassuring enough, so if my guess is correct and he come at the perfect time, it's exactly 1 PM. So Nijire, I want you to focus, clear your head and focus on my key, because at 1:05 I will power up for a brief second. And after hearing that, Nijire quickly collect her thoughts and start breathing and focusing, and like Deku told her, at 1:05 she felt it, Deku's key spike up for a second, then it vanish again. She tears up, he's alive. So Eri asked her if her dad is alive. Nijire smiled and nodded, and both hug and start crying tears of joy. Nijire thought of going straight to him to confront him, but the therapist stopped her and told her there is more. So now, since you felt my key, you know that I'm alive, so I want you to do me one thing. Don't come looking for me. Listen before you say anything. The reason I fake my death is because I know that the traitor is one of the teachers. That's why I formed a plan with Aizawa and Nizu to know who he is. P.S. Go easy on Aizawa. I know that you will scream at him for not telling the truth, but try to not blow my cover, please. Look, Nijire, I know I hurt you, and I'm sorry. And trust me, there is not enough word that will describe how sorry I am. I broke the promise that I made you a while ago, so I'm sorry. But please understand, I need to do this. All for One is planning something, and I am the only one that is delaying his plans. So to stop him, I need to remove myself from the equation. And since no one knows that you can use your key without my help, you and the others are safe. So after you are done reading this, go to Nizu and he will tell you what will happen next. And by the way, I know that you're not good at acting, so try your best to sound upset that I'm dead. Nijire wipe her tears and come to that after everything is done, she will kill him. Then the therapist smile and tell her, P.S. Yes, I know, you can kill me, but let's just wait until we are done with this. Then the therapist looked at Nijire. He know you pretty well. Nijire smiled and nodded. Then the therapist continued, and this time he addressed Eri. And Eri, I know it's a bit hard to understand, but your papa is alive. I just need to go away for a bit. But don't worry, I will come back. But I don't want you to tell anyone else that I'm alive, because there is some bad people going after me, and if I know that I'm alive, they will try everything to hurt me, or you, or your mommy. Eri nod and give the therapist a determined look and tell him that she will not say anything. The therapist just smiled. So he ended by reading the last line, and Deku basically apologized once again and stay safe. And the last paragraph was for the therapist and tell him if things get bad outside, you know the drill. Of course, he did not read the last paragraph out loud. So after that, the therapist get up and thanks Nijire for her time. Nijire smile back and tell him, no, thank you. You just give me the best news that I need. The therapist smile and nod. And when he exit, he looked at Aizawa and nod. Aizawa nod back. understanding what happened. After that, Nijire exited the room. She looked at Aizawa and she glared at him. He just sighed and apologized. So after that, Nijire waited a bit, then she went to Nizu to talk to him. Of course, she still played as best as she can that Deku is dead. It was not hard, she just needed to lock herself in his room and sometime exit. But after she went to talk with Nizu, and she basically yelled at him for keeping this from her. He apologized profusely, but he told her that was Deku's plan. So Nijire sighed and asked him what's next, because Izuku told me to come to you after I get that letter. He told her, yes, follow me. They went to face a wall and Nizu pressed a button and the wall just opened, revealing an elevator. Nijire was shocked that there is something here. They go inside the elevator and they went underground. When they arrived underground, they found a huge place where there is like multiple tubes under UA. So Nijire asked him, what's this? Well, this, Miss Hado, is our new security feature. Ever since the gate of UA got attacked by Shigaraki and someone, I think it was Toga, was able to kidnap one of the students of Shikatsu, we decided to upgrade our security. And this is it. And he gave the same explanation that Nizu did in the manga. Nijire was surprised, but why are we here? She asked him. Yes, follow me. They walk for a while, then they arrive at the door, they enter and Nijire found a place, it's completely like nothing. But just beside her there is some weights, like heavy ones, and most of them look like Deku's weights. And this place is huge, I mean huge. It's almost half a city. Fake city, but still. Then Nijire told him, wait a second, if those are Izuku's weights, this is a training ground, right? Nizu nodded. This is training ground specifically built to withstand Deku's training. And yes, he already tested it. So wait, you tell me that the time that he almost destroyed the ground around him was just a setup? Nizu nodded. Not going to lie, just like you, I found it a bit weird that he was doing that, with him knowing that we have this place. But after he told me his plan, I understand and went with him. Nijire understand and she tell him, okay, but why did you bring me here? Miss Hado, isn't it obvious for you to train here? Really? He nodded. You see, I did ask Izuku about his opinion on the new security feature, and when he saw it, he found it a good idea. Then he asked me if I can build this place. Not only for him to train, but also for you. By using his word, you are getting stronger by each passing day. Sooner or later, you will reach his level. So whenever you spar, you will destroy your environment. So this place was created. Nijire smiled after hearing that. Well, that's typical Izuku. He's always the lucky think ahead. Anyway, press Nizu, I guess I can access this place whenever I need. Nizu nod. Thank you. Nizu nod again. Don't mention it, Miss Hado. Or should I say future Miss Tetsuma? Then Nizu looks strict at the ring. Nijire blush. Nizu smile. Have a nice day. And he left her be. Nijire calmed down after his comment and thought, okay, I don't know how much time I have, so better start training. Like I told you, Izuku, I will not let you go through this alone. If you are getting stronger, so do I. And while this is happening, the therapist went straight to Ryuko's agency. At first, when he told them that he needed to talk with Ryuko, Mirako and Ryuko's sidekicks told him to leave for now. She's not in a mood to talk. So he explained that he needed to talk with her about Izuku, but once again they told him it's not the time. Then Ikshot stepped in and told them, let him talk to her. They were surprised. Are you sure? He nodded. Trust me. He must have a good reason to come here knowing the situation. So they took him to Ryuko's office, and she's just like Nijire a couple of hours ago. She asked him what does he need, so he proceeded to tell her that he have a letter from Izuku to her, and that got her attention. Then the therapist smiled and told her, and by the way, then Ikshot speak up. He's alive. The therapist's eyes widened. How did you? But Mirako and Ryuko asked him, who? Izuku. Ikshot replied, what? How? How did you know? Well, I just had a feeling that I just felt his presence a while back or a couple of hours back, but I was not sure. But since he's here and judging by his reaction, I guess I'm right. The therapist nodded and he proceeded to read the letter. And it was similar to Nijire, with Deku apologizing and explaining his plan. But there is a small note. By the way, if you somehow manage to talk with X-Shot, don't worry, he's trustworthy, and I'm pretty sure that he already figured out that I'm alive, because judging by his training, I think he can already sense people around him. And if you did like I told you by giving Ryuko's letter after Nijire, I think that he sensed me. X-Shot just smiled and told them, I guess he really thought of everything. And one more thing that was different from Nijire is at the end, Deku told them to watch it. He can feel that things will turn bad really quick without him around. Because a lot of people and villains start looking at him the same way they looked at All Might. So with him gone, they will start acting even more. Or worse. After that he's done, he thanked them for listening, but Ryuko thanked him for doing this. And by the way, after he read each letter, he always burned it. So after that he leave, and for the first time in a week, Ryuko can breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that her son is alive and always a step ahead like always. But just like Nijire, they play dumb and act like they still grieving, and things went on like this for a month. Then the Hero Safety Committee office was attacked, just like the manga, and a lot of their members died in that attack. Then after a few minutes of the attack, there is a clockman walking through the office, going straight to the head of the Safety Committee's office, opening her PC and going through everything and having a flash drive, copying everything. After that he left, leaving no trace. So the heroes and the police start doing an investigation to see what happened, but soon after starting it, like a week or less, they get an urgent message telling them that Tartarus is getting attacked by Shigaraki and a bunch of Numus. Not as much as the anime, but quite a few. And just like the manga, they free All for One and the other villains. Then All for One orders some Numus to attack some prisons, so they can release a lot of villains and cause chaos. But one thing I should mention, that during the attack on Tartarus, no one was killed, like none of the guard were killed. Yes, they are badly hurt, but they're still alive. After this, All for One retreated to his lab because he needs some healings ASAP, because the damage that Deku did to him is extensive and his high speed regeneration will take some time to heal. Remember, while he was in Tartarus, if he activates one quirk, he will be shot dead. So when he retreats and he's in the process of healing, Shigaraki went with the surgery, and by All for One estimates, this is going to take only 3 months. Shigaraki agreed with him, but All for One realized that Shigaraki is different. He's much more confident than before. You're changed, Shigaraki. Then he smirked. Well, that's a good thing that I did thought ahead. Then he turned to his left and see a pod, or almost like a tube, and there is someone inside of it. It's a shame that he was able to kill you, Izuku. I really wanted to beat you myself and make you suffer. But oh well, I will just enjoy torturing everyone that you care about. So we move forward, and just like the manga, because a lot of villains escaped, some heroes or some fake try to fight, but soon they figure out that they are outmatched, so they quit. So the people start hating the heroes, so the civilians were forced to flee into shelters, and most of them went to UA. And the first people that were inside UA are Nijire's parents, the therapist, and Deku's old colleagues. Immediately after hearing about the prison break and the heroes quitting, they called a number and it was Nizu, and he told them to come to UA. Nijire, needless to say, was surprised to see them and asked them, how did you get here so soon? So they explained that a couple of days because Deku's passing, he gave them a number and told them to call it whenever things get too heated outside. And it was Nizu's number. Then Nizu chimed in and told them to follow him, and they already have some rooms for them. They thank him. No, you don't have to thank me. You have to thank Izuku. He's the one who told me to build them. Trust me, if I didn't know that he's scrupulous, I would say that his quirk is seeing the future. So soon after that, a lot of people start going to UA. So to not blow their cover and for them to get stronger, Nijire told Class 1A and Class 1B, the other Big 4, about the secret room or the secret training ground. And of course she did lie a bit about the time it was built and the fact that Deku is alive. And he tested it, and she told them that this room, even though it's strong, cannot withstand Deku's training. That's why he decided to train outside. So after this, fast forward 3 months. Needless to say, outside is not safe at all. Villains are going in a rampage, and because All For One did order some of them, with the help of some new moves, they attack the other prisons, freeing the other prisoners. So more and more heroes, or should I say fakes, start quitting because it was too hard. The real ones were actually able to stand for a couple of months, but because of the backlash from the civilians, they ended up quitting. On top of that, there is always some earthquakes here and there. So needless to say, is an apocalypse, literally. But luckily none of the civilians were hurt, because each time a villain tried to hurt civilians, something fell for them from the buildings, knocking them out. Either if it was a piece of a building or anything, like anything. So everyone went to UA because UA is still a safe haven, and because the war did not happen, Hawks is still with the League of Villains or the Liberation Army, trying to find the perfect time to strike, but because of the sudden attack and most of the Hero Safety Committee board dying, he still haven't done anything just yet. But he was able to gather some information from the League of Villains, and they basically said they are going to launch a full-blown attack in just a couple of days. So Hawks quickly shared the information with the other heroes, so every hero and student and basically everyone that can fight, get ready, because it's time to end this. And while they are moving, someone stand up and tell himself, well, I think it's time. Let's end this once and for all. So the fighting starts just like the anime, with everyone splitting up. But this time the heroes are more determined because they know that it's do or die. So most of Class 1A and Class 1B stayed back in the forest, just like the manga. And some heroes, of course, so they can take on most of the Liberation Army or the Liberation Front. On top of that, they have a new ally, Miss All Might. Look, you can name her whatever you want, she's just a female version of All Might. So with Miss All Might we have Nijire, Tamaki, Mirio, Bakugo, and Aizawa, and the rest of the heroes like Ryuku, Mirako, Endeavor, X-Shot, and the rest. All of them, or most of them, are way more powerful than canon. So the fight starts just like the anime. The heavy hitters went straight to the city trying to stop whatever they are making. They get attacked by the Liberation Front, but because we have a time skip, Nijire, Tamaki, Bakugo, and Mirio, they were training non-stop for the past 3 months, and for Nijire's case, 4 months. That's on top of the pro heroes. Needless to say, the villains did not stand a chance. And while this is happening, the League of Villains are in the forest against 1A, and needless to say 1A are enraged that they are the reason Deku is dead. So they are out for blood, and they are strong. It took everything from the League of Villains to just avoid their attacks. Then Makia show up because he was called by All For One, because after All For One saw Miss All Might and how strong the other heroes, he decided to call him for backup. So just like the manga, go on top of Makia and he start going toward All For One. The heroes try to stop them, but Dabi pushed them away. But this time, before the villains attack Midnight that is on the ground, Dabi fired a flame toward them, knocking them out. Midnight was shocked. Did he do that on purpose or he just missed? Then Makia started going through the city, and because it's already abandoned, there is no one inside of it. So soon after that he arrived. And by the way, Best Genius is still missing. So while this is happening, the heavy hitters were confronted by All For One, the potato one. He applauded them for coming all the way here and tried to stop him. I'm impressed, heroes, that you are able to defeat or go through this many villains and still have the power to stand against me. But I know that Night Eye is still with you, so I guess He did see a bit of the future and told you the best way on how to approach me. Remember, Night Eye is alive. So by using his quirk on Miss All Might, he was able to see the future. And since in the anime Night Eye told us that his quirk can see the future, but things can change depending on the situation, and for the sake of making the story a bit more interesting, when he used his quirk on her, he saw her fighting All For One and both of them are badly hurt, but mostly her. But it's just too foggy to see what's happening around them, so he told them even though it's not clear, it seems that you will be having a tough time, so be prepared. They nod. Anyway, let's go back to the fight. So seeing that the heroes are here and Makia will take some time to arrive, All For One call for Shigaraki and he tell him to fight. The heroes step in but Nijire stand in front of them and tell them he's mine. They understand why and Nijire charge at Shigaraki and they start fighting. Of course both of them know Deku's plan, so they don't want to kill each other or hurt each other, but they did put up a good show. Enough to convince All For One that they are fighting seriously, because here's the thing, even though Shigaraki have his decay, Nijire can fly, so she can move or dodge his attack, and this Shigaraki is not as strong as the anime or the manga, he's weaker. You will know why soon. So while Nijire and Shigaraki are going at it, Miss All Might and Endeavor step in and decide to fight All For One. He knows that taking them both head on will be a bit of a problem, so he called for some new moves. So the new moves start fighting the heroes, and even though they are strong, two of them are especially stronger. One of them can breathe fire and second one have telekinesis. And that made Nijire stop fighting, and also their key signature feel very familiar. And after All For One saw her stop, he smirked and told her, "Oh, so you did notice, huh? Well, you see, young lady, I did make these two new moves specifically to fight Izuku, and trust me, the three of them will have a good reunion." Reunion, Nijire thought, then it hit her. Don't tell me they are. All For One smile. You're right, they are his biological parents. After their later revelation about what they did to him, they become desperate. So I was able to recruit them. Nijire got angry and she clenched her fist. "You sick bastard!" All For One just smiled. Then Makia arrived, but he instantly fell to the ground because, like in the manga, Class 1A gave him some sedative, so the second he arrived at the battlefield, he passed out, or almost. All For One was going to order him to move, then a helicopter shows up and it have best genius and he captured Makia. All For One sighed and tell them it's futile, then he called for more new moves. And he tell them this time you don't have your flying quirkless kid to save you. Then Nijire smirks and tell him, "All For One, do you know what I did learn from my quirkless hero?" All For One looked at her, then Nijire smirked and she powers up to 100%, shocking All For One. She can use that as well? Then he heard two other people powering up, Aizawa and Ikshot. All For One is more shocked than angry. Even though he got rid of Deku, his presence in this world still remain. Then Nijire told him there's still more. Then she powered up even further, showing her new transformation. Limit break 40% and her hair turned a slight pink color. You can even call it rosé. No? Wrong anime? Yeah, I know. Anyway, after All For One saw that, he got pissed. He can see the similarities between her power and Deku's. So doing his anger, he charged at her, but she was able to easily avoid his attack and kick him away. Remember, this Nijire have a time skip of 4 months, and in the same time span, Deku was able to discover the limit break and push it to 50%. And this Nijire have the exact same time using her limit break, actually more. And actually, because of Deku, she doesn't need to waste time to discover on how to use it properly. He already taught her on how to do it. So needless to say, she's strong. Anyway, so after Nijire swapped All For One away, all the heroes are shocked. Not only she was able to use a power similar to Izuku, but she's able to single-handedly handle All For One. She's his girlfriend, alright. So after that happened, All For One started collecting himself and started getting up. You're strong, not going to lie. But if you think strength alone can beat me, you're sadly mistaken. Then he ordered the Numus and the League to attack them. The League start charging at them, then suddenly Dobby stopped, turned around and fired a flame toward the Numus, burning them. And twice, yes, he's there, create a bunch of Dobbies basically, and they followed the original. The heroes are dumbfounded. What is happening? Same for All For One, but before he can say anything, by the corner of his eye, he saw Shigaraki going straight at him, extending his hand. All For One dodged and Shigaraki touched the ground, decaying most of it. And before he even touched the ground, Nijire charged at him, punching him to the ground. But before she can do anything else, someone punched her away. She was able to stop herself, and the person that punched her was Muscular. Even though Deku's dragon face did a number on him, the doctor and All For One were able to heal him. It just took them a bit more time to do it since they have everything else to do, like creating the Numus and Shigaraki. Finally, Muscular said, quite happy that he's finally can let loose in a while. Your power feels familiar. It's similar to his. That kid was strong, but I heard that he killed him. He pointed at Shigaraki. So let's see if you're strong as him. He charged at her, but midway through his assault, his quirk got cancelled and Aizawa charged at him, wrap him by his scarf and slam him as hard as he can against the ground. Stay down, Aizawa tell him. And while he's distracted, All For One charged at him to try to take his quirk or kill him. But Nijire and Shigaraki step in front of him, stopping him. Nijire was the one to block his attack, and Shigaraki tried to touch him, but he was able to dodge. What's going on here? Why are you helping her? Didn't he kill your boyfriend? Oh, poor All For One. If you think that I can kill him, you're sadly mistaken. On top of that, I will never betray the person that helped me see clearly. Then Shigaraki get pissed. I will make you pay for what you did to my grandma. All For One smile and start laughing a bit and tell him, so they told you, huh? Anyway, then before he can finish his sentence, someone kick him in his right hand, breaking it and make him slide on the battlefield. Everyone was shocked that someone was able to break his hand that easily. All For One quickly healed his hand and start thinking, who is he? He looked up and saw someone wearing a cloak and flying. He was able to break my hand that easily? Who are you? All For One said. And in typical anime fashion, some wind blown, removing a bit of the cloak, revealing that that person is wearing a familiar symbol on his chest. Even though the suit is a bit different, the symbol is still the same. Some people were shocked to see someone wearing that, but a few people were in tears because they know who he is. Or on the other hand, his face turned white. What's wrong, All For One? The person speak up. It's like you've seen a ghost. Then he removed his cloak, revealing that he's Deku, but he's different. His hair and eyes are blue, dark blue. You're alive? All For One said in shock. Then he looked at Shigaraki and he smirked. You took your sweet time arriving, Limitless. Yeah, sorry for the wait. I had some other business to attend. All For One snapped from his shock and he started thinking the reason Deku was able to break his arm is because he already masters his power. Because he's using 100% without any signs of damaging himself. I'm impressed, Izuku. You did get stronger. Yeah, I know, and you're still ugly. Why you? Then he charged at him, making his hand go bigger like he did in Kamino, and he threw it, and this time Deku did not dodge. He didn't even lift his finger, he just stood there, taking the punch. The attack hit Deku and it created a massive shockwave. All For One started laughing and tell him, I think you didn't get stronger at all. Really? Is that all you got? Deku tell him, revealing that the attack did collide, but he's just standing there. What? All For One took a step back. That was everything that I have. How did you? Oh, All For One. Then in a blink of an eye, Deku grabbed All For One by his head and lifted him up. Like I told you in Kamino, I'm just stronger than you. Then he slammed him against the ground as hard as he can, creating a decent crater, shocking everyone, yes, even Miss All Might. I know her name is Star and Stripe because someone will tell me in the comment section, but calling her Miss All Might is way more funnier. So she started comparing him with All Might. He's strong and he was able to take that monster using one hand. I did see the fighting coming, but if I fought him only using strength, I will lose in mere seconds. And by the way, I forgot to mention, when Miss All Might arrived, All For One and his lackeys were busy. That's why they did not stop her from coming to Japan. So her jet that we saw in the manga are there, helping them as much as they can, of course. And for the first time in his life, Muscular realized that if he fought Deku right now, he will lose instantly. He just got his freedom and he doesn't want to waste it. On top of that, Aizawa still is rapping him, literally. So back to the fight. When Deku slammed All For One against the ground, he tell him, I can kill you in a heartbeat. But then he let go of him and kick him towards Shigaraki, or close to him. You're not mine to kill. On top of that, I need to face against your successor. All For One, a bit in pain, smirk. So you noticed, huh? Well, it's already too late because he's finally ready. And when he said that, a massive explosion happened, and from it, someone emerged and he's flying. Deku can recognize the key a bit, and needless to say, he was shocked. Him again? Everyone said except for Deku, because he can sense that his key is different. It resembles All For One quite a lot, but it still have some remains of 9. It's almost like their key fused. Then it hit Deku. I see now, so I guess this is your new body, All For One. 9 or the new All For One smirk and tell him, you're right. And at that very moment it hit Shigaraki. All For One was planning to do that to him, so Deku literally saved his life. So from now on, the new All For One is just called All For One, and the old one is called, well, Potato Head or soon to be Dead Man. Oh well, I'm going to figure out something while I'm recording this. All For One extend his hand and fire a massive air attack at them. Everyone were prepared to dodge, but Deku just stood firm and fired his own air cannon to cancel his. You're strong, Deku said to All For One. You have no idea, brat. So how about we start this show? Huh? Deku got in his position, stealing words right out of my mouth. But to make sure that no one interfere with our fight, All For One clicks something and a lot of new moves burst on the ground and they start attacking the heroes. So they are busy. Except for Shigaraki and Nijire, they are busy with All For One. Because right after he saw how strong they are, he injected himself with a quirk boost because he learned from his last mistake when he fought Deku. And after seeing this, Nijire pushed herself to the limit, literally, and used 60% of limit break. And her hair turned from pink to almost red, or there's not a lot between pink and red, but I don't care, she's just using 60%, and with the help of Shigaraki, they're equaling the playing field, because All For One knew that just one touch from Shigaraki and he's gone, and Nijire of course is strong in her own right. And one more thing, because there's a lot of new moves, yes, Miss All Might using her quirk is able to help a lot. Also the jets, the problem is most of the new moves are a bit stronger than the manga, and most of them have regeneration because, once again, Deku. And this forced Aizawa to let go of Muscular, so he started attacking them with the new moves, and because of that, he's dangerous to them. On top of that, Makia was able to free himself from the binds of Best Genius, so the heroes have their hands full, and Muscular, and he knows the only people that can stop him are Miss All Might and Aizawa. And since Miss All Might is preoccupied with the new moves, he charged Aizawa, and because he's distracted, Muscular saw an opening and he used 100% of his power to punch him, but before he can hit him, a yellow spear pierced through his chest from his back. Everyone were shocked. Muscular turned around and saw that was Deku's spear. He locked eyes with him, then spear exploded, creating a massive hole in Muscular's chest, and he dropped dead. The heroes are dumbfounded. Did he just kill him? Even All For One was surprised. But he collected himself and looked at Deku. I guess you aren't kidding about the time when you told me that you will kill me, but I guess that was only case for me. Well, he had his chance like the others and he wasted it by killing and hunting other innocent people, so he will suffer the same fate as them. The heroes and All For One start thinking, suffer the same fate? Then it hit All for One. So you are the one who was killing the villains. I thought that was weird, some powerful villains like that will just die by accident. Now I understand why. So you're still going to call yourself a hero after what you did? All for One asks, smirking. It doesn't matter what will happen to me, Deku replied in a cold voice. As long as your existence is being erased from this world, and people will not suffer because of you, and you will pay for what you've done, that's all what matters to me. So they charge each other, they clash, and it seems that they are equal. They're flying around, exchanging blows. Then All for One start using the dragons to get close to Deku and catch him or hit him with them. And he was able to hit him with few, but Deku easily break them using a dragon cannon, aim straight at All for One. But when he hit him, All for One used his new quirk, Reflect. So he basically reflects Deku's blast toward him. So Deku dodge, All for One smirk and tell him, you're not the only one that can learn from his past mistakes. Deku smile and tell him, well, if I cannot blast you like last time, I will just have to punch the life out of you. Then he charge at him, they start clashing, and this time All for One is stronger. He's blocking most of Deku's attacks. Then he punched Deku away and tell him, look Izuku, I know that you are stronger. But let me tell you a secret. Not only I was able to regain my primal power, exactly like it was at my prime, but also I'm stronger. And it's all thanks to you. It made me remember that at any point of time, there will be someone as strong as me, so I need to be stronger. Deku smirked and started laughing a bit. Why are you laughing? All for One asked. Oh, it's just funny. I think what you're saying right now is that you know about my current strength because of the traitor that you put in your way, right? Well, I'm not surprised that you figured that out. You are able to discover who I am on your own. But what are you getting at? I already know your current strength, and even though you are able to master your power, it will not be too much. At best, it will be like, what, 6 times the previous power that you have when we fought? Deku smirked once again. I guess you fell for it, huh? What do you mean? Well, you see, All for One, I know that you have your traitor keeping tabs on me, so I know whatever I do, you will always be informed. Always. So I decide to give you exactly what you want. My current power. Each time I will fight a villain, I will always use my 100% state. And each time it will be stronger than last time. Or so you thought. What? You heard me right. Whenever I was using my 100% state against any villain, 9 overall, I was always holding back. And your calculations were almost right. After 4 months of training, I was able to increase my power 8 times, not 6. But that was before my death. Because I know if I want to get stronger, I cannot reach your level with the eyes of your traitor looming over me. On top of that, since Kamino, I know that you have something planned, just in case, because I am not as gullible as the other heroes. I know that someone that lived as long as you will not just show up just to save a pawn, just like you like calling them. So I needed to save Shigaraki before, well, this happened to him. And after I was able to do that a bit, I thought maybe you have a plan B to regain all your strength. So I knew that my 8 times power boost will not be enough. But I want you to think, All for One. I was able to increase my power 8-fold while I was training under the watchful eyes of your traitor. So what do you think will happen with 3 months with no interruption and without me having the fear of destroying my surroundings? All for One's eyes widen. You're not the only one that gets stronger, All for One. I knew that you were 60 times stronger than me in your prime. So not only I was aiming to reach that level, I was aiming to surpass it. Then Deku screamed at the top of his lungs, his aura burst open, the city started shaking violently and started breaking apart. And everything around him started getting pushed away because of his power. Lightning struck a few times, because of his power, and this shocked everyone, even Nijire. She knew that Deku was aiming to get stronger, but this is unreal. Even Miss All Might's eyes widen. At first she thought that maybe she can stand a chance against him, but now... she's not that sure. And by the way, in their end, they are quickly dispatching of the Numus, and the Potato Head is still having his clash with Shigaraki and Nijire. So back to the main fight. Orphan is in disbelief. Even though he cannot sense ki, he can feel Deku's pressure, and it's intense. A drop of sweat fell from his forehead and tell Deku, well, I guess it will be tougher than I thought, huh? Deku just smirked. Shall we? And they charged each other and they start clashing. And the shockwave that they are creating are unreal. And because once again they are moving way too fast for anyone, except for Nijire, but she's busy because, you know, she's strong. But even with that, she's still having some problems keeping up. And back to Deku and All For One, they are almost equal in power. Since Deku knew that he cannot use his Ki Blast to attack him because of his reflection, his only option is to get close to him and attack him with punches or he slash him. But because he have high speed regeneration, those attacks don't do a lot. But the same thing can be said for All For One. Deku just heal himself. So they both realize that this is a fight on who can last longer. Except then Deku think of something. He back away from All For One, took a deep breath and closed his eyes. All For One is wondering what he's doing, but he doesn't want to find out, so he charges at him and throws a punch, and without Deku opening his eyes, he dodges, shocking All For One. He throws another punch and Deku dodges well. Then Deku opens his eyes, looks straight at All For One, and he smiles. And from his expression, All For One can see that he's not worried at all. So they resume their fight, and this time All For One cannot even land a single hit on Deku. Yes, sometimes he gets close, but Deku always dodge or block. What? How? All For One said. Deku replied by spinning around, kicking him in his face and tell him, it's simple, All For One, I'm just built different. My power comes from my own hard work. You on the other hand, well, we did have this discussion before, so I don't want to repeat myself. So how about we end this, shall we? His aura burst open and he charged at him, so Deku decided to make his fist hurt more. So he started using his electric punches. So each time he punched All For One, he shocked him. And it looks like that it's doing the job. So he started pushing All For One more and more. And after a powerful punch to the gut, and that created opening for Deku, he pulled his hand back and yelled, Dragon Fist! Then he punched All For One with it, and he went straight through his chest. I mean the dragon. Then he spin around him, and he exploded. And when he's done, we see All For One, or what's left of him, where most of him, remember they are close in strength, and Deku did not put all his energy into this attack. So All For One flies down and he starts to heal, but Deku is not giving him the time. He fly at top speed toward him, and All For One saw that, so he quickly called for Makia and the two Numus, step in front of him to block Deku. But then Aizawa saw that Deku's hand is glowing purple. Oh crap, everyone! Get away! Don't let that purple blast hit you! Aizawa shouted at everyone. Everyone immediately back away. All For One is surprised and asking what he's talking about. Then Deku yelled, Destruction! He let out a purple wave of ki, and when All For One saw that, he dodged, but half of his body was hit by that attack. But for Makia and the two Numus and a bunch of other Numus that were in the area, and of course the area around them, at first they felt nothing, then they start glowing purple. They scream in pain, then they turn to dust. Same for All For One half of his body. Everyone are speechless about the level of destruction. Even All For One and Shigaraki commented that this attack resembled his decay a lot, except the fact that Deku doesn't need to touch his target. But Aizawa also remarked that Deku, his hand is still fine, so his body is strong enough to withstand that technique. Back to All For One, he's dumbfounded. He have this deadly of a technique? He was able to erase half of my body by just that? Then he looked at Deku. Deku glared at him and his eyes glowing blue. All For One took a step back and he thought, this kid is a monster. But then he smiled, so I'm glad I did think ahead. Two tubes or whatever that was popped from his back and Deku saw that. Oh no, then he charged at him. Then some liquid was injected inside All For One and he starts screaming and Deku can feel his power rising. But sadly, before he can reach him, All for One fired a massive air cannon toward him, pushing him back and actually hurting him. Deku stopped himself and healed himself quickly, then All for One charged at him and they start fighting. Deku using his UI or his version of it, and he dodged most of his attacks, but when the attack landed, it did a lot of damage. All for One is stronger than him. Then All for One delivered a furious right hook to Deku's face that sent him flying. Then Deku slowly gets up and All for One tells him, "Well, Izuku, it looks like that I'm having the upper hand now. You're strong, not going to lie. Far stronger than I thought. You're even stronger than All Might in his prime. Well, both of us are. But sadly, this is your limit. Limitless." Deku grin and tell him, "Let's see about that." Deku power up in his aura starts surrounding him, and it starts getting thicker and thicker. And he was covered with a white armor, with wings, to resemble Ryuko's. And since Deku have his dragon's attacks, let's go the trend and call it dragon armor. I know I'm lazy, but feel free to give it a name in the comment section. Anyway, after Deku uses his new technique, All for One is impressed and tell him that's a good light show. Deku did not utter a word, he just charged at him, and All for One decided to play with him a bit, so he just stood there. And when he's in front of him, Deku extended both of his hands and blind him using his ki, the same way he did with All Might. Then he yelled, "Do it now!" Then all the jets and Nijire fired their beams at Deku, because when he used his technique, he told them telepathically to do it the second he told them. So the blats hit Deku, or to be precise, his armor. Everyone are thinking, what is he doing? Then Deku's armor starts glowing, then all the energy that he gathered from the blasts or the lasers, he used them and create a massive barrier around All for One. You see, this technique have a special ability, it can redirect energy. He got the idea from All for One's impact recall. He was afraid that one day he will face someone that can reflect or redirect his attacks, like All for One did in Kamino, and damage him, so he created this technique. So when he created the barrier, he also used up all the energy of the dragon armor. Then they tell him, "What now?" Deku lift his hand up in the sky. Stellar Judgment. Then he pulled it down as hard as he can, or as fast as he can. And when he did that, everyone can see something getting closer and closer to them. And it's revealed it's a big attack from Deku, like a massive one. And it hit All for One head on. The attack was so massive and so devastating that Deku's barrier was not able to withstand it all. The barrier break, releasing a massive shockwave that pushed everyone away from it, well, except for Deku. And when everyone slowly gets up, they saw the place where is All for One, and they saw a massive crater, and All for One in it, or what's left of him, regenerating. Then he said, "Deku, what was that, you brat? Did you not hear the name? It's called Stellar Judgment, All for One." To put it in layman's term, it's basically a big attack that fall from orbit. Everyone said, "Orbit? You mean?" "Yes, outside of Earth." I know that I need a massive attack and a powerful one to distract him. Distract him? Trust me, this guy is a tough son of a bitch. I know for a fact that he will not die by an attack like that. This is just to buy me time. Deku power up and his aura starts growing bigger and bigger. Everyone think the same thing. He's going to use his sacrifice move, the same thing that he used in Kamino. Nijire was going to speak up, then she saw that his energy is acting weird. He just stopped and then it started going back to his body. More and more power started going back to his body, and he started getting covered with like white skin. And after his aura was completely gone, and at the same time All for One finished healing, he charged at Deku thinking that he needs to stop whatever technique he's using. He throws a punch, and to his shock, Deku catch it. The skin slowly crack and disappear, and it revealed Deku, but he's changed once again. His hair and eyes are still the same, are still blue, but he has some weird lines on his body, going from his neck to his arms and around his eyes. Deku locked eyes with All for One and smirked, then he punched him as hard as he can, sending him flying. All for One and everyone else are surprised and shocked about the level of power, especially Nijire. If she thought that he was powerful before, this is just unreal. He's far more stronger than before. All for One collect himself and wipe blood from his face and tell him, "What's this?" Deku smirk and tell him, "Well, All for One, let me jog your memory. in our first fight, the reason I died, it's because I did not think that you will go as low as using a quirk boost. But now I know, and do you really think that I will just come to a fight without being prepared? I know that mastering my power will not be enough to beat you, especially with you using a quirk boost. So I need to go a step beyond that and perfected it. So let's keep it simple and call this the perfect limit break. And one more change about Deku's state is he doesn't have his aura anymore. In this state, his aura is completely gone. Orphan get angry and tell him, I don't care what power or level you have, I'm still stronger, I will beat you. Deku smirk, keep dreaming. All For One charge at Deku and they start fighting, and All For One was not able to land a single hit on Deku. Either he dodge or block, but Deku always hit. Even if All For One was able to block Deku's attack, he's still getting hurt a bit because Deku is still using his electricity. And after Deku dodge All For One's attack, All For One tell him, how? Why? Here's the thing, All For One, your current strength was given to you by a boost, and that boost have a time limit, or there is a limit on how much it can boost you. But here's one little thing that you overlooked. That drug is called a quirk boost, not quirks boost. You have multiple quirks, meaning the quirk boost is being spread or shared between all your quirks. And that means it's also being used faster, and his effect is not as potent as being used on one quirk. All For One's eyes widen and Deku tell him, and judging by your expression, you didn't know about that. All For One grind his teeth and tell him, how did you? Well, it's simple. During our last fight, when Warford used the quirk boost on you, most of it went to the regeneration one. It took me a while to figure it, but after I saw that you freed your old self, I immediately realized what happened. The quirk that your old potato one have is just a copy, except for the regeneration one. So I definitely know that if you use a quirk boost on you with your original quirk, I know that the time limit or the effect of the quirk boost will be less and less potent. On top of that, the time limit of it is extremely short, because I know that you have a lot of quirks. And on top of that, my previous attack did quite a number on you. So for your body to heal, he already used a lot of that boost already. That's why you are getting weaker and weaker by the second. All For One realized what happened and he took a step back. You mean, Deku smirk, you played right into my hand? Or to put it mildly, you're fucked. And now it's time to pay. All For One. Deku created electricity, but this time it was not blue or red, it was purple. He's mixing the Hakai with electricity to put as much damage as possible. Sure, it's not as powerful as the Hakai, but it's still powerful. So Deku charged at All For One and he started giving him the beatdown of the century. Punch after punch, kick after kick. On top of that, the electricity of one's body start breaking apart. Each time he started regenerating, Deku break him even more. Potato All For One decide or thought of helping, but because of the pressure that they are releasing, or to be precise, the pressure that Deku is releasing from punching All For One, so he cannot get close, and that is on top of Nijire and Shigaraki standing in front of him. They are still fighting, and just like All For One, he's losing ground rapidly because the quirk boost is fading. So after Deku pummeled All For One to the ground, he was ready to finish it, then he suddenly jumped from his perfected limit break. Everyone saw that and Deku started gasping for air. Damn it, I used up a lot of my power. You have to remember, he used a Hakai, a Dragon Fist, and his Dragon Armor. And that is on top of him using some of his power to guide the new technique. And his Purple Lightning, and also his transformation, so needless to say, he used up quite a lot of his power. But he's lucky, because the beatdown that All For One just got, the quirk boost completely wore off, on top of Deku's beatdown, but he still can regenerate, so that cancels that. But he's still tired, so he's not as strong as before. Well, Izuku, it looks like that you cannot predict everything. Deku smirk. You're right, I can't. That's when I rely on other people. Do it now, Stripes! then Miss All Might charged at All For One, kicking him in his face. All For One was not expecting this, so he was taken off guard. He was sent flying backward a bit. Then she used her quirk to create a vacuum around him, so All For One started choking. You know that will not hold him for long, she told Deku. She looked behind her and saw Deku standing up, his hand away from his body, and he's glowing with white light around him. Then a lot of white light balls start making their way toward Deku, and when All For One saw that, his eyes widened. That technique? It can't be! He quickly shot some tendrils toward Stripes, forcing her to let go of the previous order so All For One can breathe again. Then he immediately fired an air cannon toward Deku, but right before it hit him, Deku teleported. Yes, you heard me right, he teleported behind All For One, and once again powering up to his max, pushing All For One away from him. All For One stopped himself and told Deku, that technique, how? Oh, so you still remember it, huh? Well, you see, after I was able to free the people that were stuck in that Nomu in Kamino, one of them, the person that created this technique, talked with me and warned me about you, and as a thank you, he gave me his knowledge about this technique. Quite ironic, don't you think? You will be killed by a technique that was created by a person that you killed. And now it's time to finish it All For One. So Deku charged at him and it was basically a one-sided beatdown. Deku is not giving him any room to breathe. Then after stunning him with an attack, Deku pulled all his power into one massive attack. His right hand was covered with purple light. Then he teleported in front of All For One, and before All For One can react or say anything, Deku punched him and tell him, this is the end for you, All For One. Destroy your Dragon Fist, or Dragon Fist of Destruction, whatever you want to call it. So like last time, the dragon went through All For One, taking him up in the sky. But because of the energy in it, before even the dragon exploded, All For One can feel his body slowly getting destroyed. He screamed in pain knowing this is the end. Then the dragon exploded, or it's not an explosion, it's more like he created a massive purple light, and after a second, it's gone. There is no trace of All For One left. Everyone started thinking, did it? And at the same time, the heroes were able to kill the last Nomu, and for Class 1A and Class 1B, and the heroes are with them, they already captured all the villains. Class 1A are strong. This is what happened when you have a time skip and the heroes or whatever is doing it is training, and they have only one drive, to stop this madness and make you pay. So after seeing this, Potato had All For One know that this is the end. But before he can do anything, Nijire delivered a powerful right hook that sent him flying. Then she took her right hand and fired a beam similar to Deku, but with her quirk in tow. Let's call it a spiraling dragon cannon. So All For One was on the ground bleeding and slowly healing. But before he can get up, Shigaraki rushed toward him and grabbed him by his arms. And they slowly decay. All For One looked at him in complete shock and horror. He tried to talk with Shigaraki and tell him he gave him a roof when he was homeless, and he was there for him when he was long. Shigaraki got angry and tell him, everything that happened to me, it's because of you. What my father did to me was unforgivable. But the reason he was like that, it's because of you. My grandma was afraid that you will hurt him. That's why she stayed away from him. And now I'll make sure that no one will feel and experience the same thing that I did. Goodbye All For One, and hope you enjoy your stay in hell. Then Shigaraki used all the power that he have on his quirk, and in an instant All For One turned to stone, then he crumbled to dust. Shigaraki sighed and he's happy that that's over. Nijire powered down, then she looked at Deku. He was exhausted, needless to say. She walked toward him. She was happy that he's alive, and of course a bit upset, but mostly happy. She walked toward him and asked him, is he okay? Deku avoided eye contact. He looked to the side and told her, yeah, I'm fine. Izuku, what's wrong? He did not reply. Please look at me. Deku teared up a bit and told her, I can't. After what I done, I just can't look you in the eyes. After everything that I said, I eventually just hurt you and broke my promise. And then immediately Nijire pulled him into a hug. She cheers up and tells him she understands. She knows that he had no other choice. And even though you don't need that, I forgive you. Deku tear up even more, hug her tightly and apologize. Then he broke the hug, he wiped his tears, well, both of them. But Nijire said, then she slapped him, this is for scaring me. I really thought that I lost you. Yeah, I deserve it. Sorry. Then Nijire hugged him and Deku can feel his power coming back to him. and he realized that Nijire is giving his key to him. I guess that you weren't slack enough the past 3 months, huh? Nope, I wasn't, she replied, but compared to you, I'm still far weaker. Don't worry, you will catch up, eventually. She smiled. Then Star and Stripes or Miss All Might walk up to him and tell him, "It's good to finally see you, Limitless." Likewise, Stripes. Look, I'll be blunt, even though I'm a fan of All Might, he did save my life when I was a kid. I don't have any hatred toward you. I can understand that you two have a tough or rough relationship. On top of that, now I understand why most of Hero of Japan respect you. You're unique, to put it mildly. I'm not, Deku replied. It's just I did see both sides of the coin way early in life, so I have way more experience than anyone else. I see. Well, anyway, I'm glad that's done, but I think your fight is not over yet. Then she looked at Ryuko. Yeah, you're right. Ryuko walked toward him and she punched him in the head. I deserve that. Then she hugged him and he apologized for doing that. She understands better than Nijire, but still, she's upset. Then Deku locked eyes with Aizawa, problem child, sleepy teacher. I'm glad that you're still kicking, and I can see that you did get stronger. Good. They share a smile. Then Deku looked down because Aizawa did capture the doctor and he glared at him. The doctor was afraid. Then Deku tell him, "From all the people, you have to be the one, huh? Did we meet before?" The doctor replied, still in fear. Yes, we did. A decade ago. A decade? Wait, you mean... Yes. You're the one who told me that I'm quirkless. I'm sorry, kid. Don't bother. I'm not angry at you because of that. You did your job. But what I'm angry about is you creating the new moves just to please All for One. You torture people, you kill them and use their corpse only for your selfish gains. And for you, I have no mercy or pity left. Please don't kill me. Oh, don't worry, I won't kill you. I heard about your theory about the quirks and their evolution and whatever. So just like overhaul, you can see that quirks are a disease in sort. Then Deku reached his belt and took out a quirk erasing bullet, shocking everyone. Then Deku smirked. So I guess that you will not need yours, right? Wait, stop! But before he can finish, Deku fired a bullet at him and Doctor can feel his quirk getting erased, and because of his quirk let him double his lifespan and he's already past his first lifespan, he's starting to get older really quick. He tried reaching Deku asking for help. Deku walked toward him, put his hand on his head, make him look at him directly and tell him, "I won't kill you, but I won't save you." Then he let go of him and after a couple of seconds, the doctor drew his last breath. Some of the heroes start thinking if that was necessary, but they realized that this doctor was the one who created the new moves. So with him still alive, there is a chance that someone will use him again. Then Deku looked at the Lego villains. Yes, that includes Shigaraki. You're okay? Yeah, we're fine. It's just your classmates are really strong. We were lucky that we were able to escape. Yeah, I know. Then Toya looked to his right and saw that Todoroki is walking toward him. Shoto? I guess Toya, right? Dabi nod. I guess it's good to finally meet you. Yeah, it's good to meet you again, little brother. Then he put his hand on his shoulder. Endeavor walked toward them. Dabi saw him and get angry. Then Endeavor said, "Look, I know, you're angry, you hate me, I can understand that. It was my fault. I won't demand your forgiveness. It's your choice. It's just, I need to say this. I'm sorry. I ruined your life, both of you, and I will take blame for what happened." Dabi looked at Deku and Shigaraki. They tell him it's your choice. Dabi sighed and tell him, "Let's talk later." Endeavor was happy to hear that. He looked up and nodded. After that, the police show up to take the villains, and when they saw the Lego villains, they aimed their guns at them. Then Deku told them to stay down. They looked at him and they were shocked. "Limitless? You're alive?" "Alive and well." "Once again, stay down. They are not the enemy. They are with me. and if anyone have a problem with that, he have to go through me. The police nod and the League of Villains take him. At least he's not using them like all for one. The Nijire hugged him, so I guess we should go back to see Eri. Yeah, I did really miss that little beam, but before that, I have something to do. Nijire looked at him worried. Don't worry, it will take like an hour at max. Where are you going? Destroying everything that all for one have. Then they broke the hug, Deku fly up, then he flew away. So the police take the villains to whatever prison they still have, and they took the League of Villains back with them to UA. Some heroes are still a bit worried about them, but Aizawa explained that they are on their side and whatever they saw on TV was a setup. Yeah, it was, but not going to lie, it felt pretty good holding the title of the Killer of Limitless. Then Dabi chime in and tell him, you know, that was a copy, so it was far weaker than the original one. Yeah, shut up and let me have it. Nope. They glare at each other, then Aizawa tells them, enough, I'm tired. So Izuku was right. You're always tired. Damn you, Izuku, you will pay for this. And by the way, 1A are there, so they were quite shocked hearing that Deku is alive. But there is a couple of people that are pretty upset. So they go back to UA and give the good news to everyone. They were happy that it's finally over. Then they saw someone fly down. At first they were a bit afraid, then they saw it was Deku. They were shocked to see him alive, but also happy. But from everyone there is a small grey blur one strict to Deku hugging him. It's Eri. She's of course happy to see him again. Deku hugged her tightly and apologized for scaring her. And he's not going anywhere anytime soon. After that he met up with Class 1A, they scolded him, especially Shinso and Momo. He received a bat to the head from Momo and a punch from Shinso, and he told them he deserved that. By the way, they did not hurt him too much because he's strong. After that we see that Nizu and some heroes are escorting someone. Ectoplasm, and he's in handcuffs. They tell them that they are making a mistake. Then Deku appear in front of him and tell him, I don't think so. He looked up and he was shocked. You're alive? Yes, I am. And all for one, and everything that he have are gone. For good. So trust me, you already lost. You traitor. Ectoplasm reply, trying defending himself and tell him I'm not the traitor. And do you have any evidence? Deku smirk and tell him, oh, we do, trust me. But to enlighten you, do you remember 3 months ago when Aizawa took everyone and told them where I was? Yes, he did that to all the teachers. You're right, he did. But here's the thing, only Class 1A teachers know our schedule. That's why the main focus or the main targets are you 5. So with that we can remove All Might because he's All Might, Aizawa of course, and Mike. So that leaves us with Cemento and you. And even though I doubted it was Cemento, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So when Aizawa talked to you and him, he did tell you where I was, but he gave you 2 different locations. Ectoplasm's eyes widen, same for the other teachers, and they look at Nizu and Aizawa and they smile. And before you ask, because I know that you will, what you saw on TV was just a clone made by Twice. So to put it in layman's term, you lost, you traitor. Ectoplasm quickly realized that he actually lost. He started cursing and he was going to attack until Deku kicked him in his face, breaking his jaw. I guess I forgot how strong I am, huh? Anyway, let's end this. Deku reached his belt and took out another quick erasing bullet, and that shot Aizawa and the rest. Izuku, how many do you have? This is the last one. And if you're asking how did I get them, do you remember when I was inside Overhaul's lab? I found a bunch of unfinished quark erasing bullets, so I took them. But don't worry, they can only erase the quark temporarily. But this is different. This is the complete version. When I destroyed the box during the raid, I quickly hide the last bullet because if you remember I only used 3 and there is 4 bullets inside the box. It was a safe plan just in case if All for One was stronger than me, I will be using it on him. The heroes were surprised. He have a backup for his backup plan. Like always. Then Deku inject ectoplasm and he erased his quirk. Then he told the cops to take him away before he suffered the same fate as All for One and the other villains. Then the heroes remember something. He spoke with All for One. He said that he killed a lot of villains. They heard some heroes talking about finding some high ranking villains dead on the ground during the past 3 months. So now they understand what happened. It was Deku's doing. Then what's left of the Hero Safety Committee? Yes, they are there. They decide to stay in UA because it's the safest place in Japan. So they walk toward Deku and congratulate him on doing a good job. And in the future, when everything is settled, we will have a lot of work for you. Deku got angry and tell them, you mean being your pawn, right? The heroes were surprised about Deku's reaction, especially to the Hero Safety Committee. The Hero Safety Committee realized that Deku is onto them, but they lied and told him, we told you before, we don't do that. We did clarify the misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding here. Then Deku grabbed them by telekinesis and pushed them to the ground, hard. You bastards are worse than All for One. The heroes tell him to explain. The Hero Safety Committee tells Stripes to do something. She looked at Deku, Deku looked back at her. So, can you explain? Then Deku looked at Nizu. Nizu, can you please bring us a laptop? Nizu nod. He bring a laptop and Deku reach his belt and take out a USB drive and tell Nizu to take a look inside of it. They did, and they found a lot of evidence that proves that the Hero Safety Committee were using heroes, and when they're done with them, they declare them as villains and put them behind bars. Then the heroes glare at the Safety Committee and tell them, well, care to explain? They try to lie and tell them it must be fake, but they are way too real to be fake, and Deku tell them that he got it straight from the Hero Safety Committee network. How did you get in? Deku smirk. I have my ways. But Deku power up. You disgust me. You're supposed to be helping heroes, getting rid of the fakes, not the real ones. You lot are worse than All for One. Then he stick his right hand, and I should give you the same treatment. And then immediately the heroes step in front of him and tell him that's enough. You don't need more blood on your hand. Deku power down and tell them, you're right. They are not mine to kill. And the second they said that, they turned around only to see all the safety committee members dead on the ground, bullets through their head. A sniper they thought, and they get ready, but no more shots were fired. Then they look at Deku and tell them, I won't kill them because they did nothing to me, but I will not say the same about the people that they wrong. So after that, Deku talked telepathically with Lady Nagin and told her, well, you got your revenge and I cleared your name. Yeah, I can see that. Not going to lie. At first when you told me that you're going to do that, I thought that you're crazy. I still think you do, but you're the good kind of crazy. Thanks, I guess. So what now? He asked her. I don't know. It's been a while since last time I had my freedom, so I guess going around, enjoying it. Deku thinks for a second and told her, Japan is not safe now for you to enjoy it. So let me guess, you want me to work under you to save it? No, I want you to work with me. Someone with your experience, not fighting, but general experience will be crucial in rebuilding this world. Because you and I know and experience both sides of the coin. And we know how dark this society can become. So let's make sure that no one will suffer like we did. You're a hero, right? Well, Limitless, you have a sniper on your side. Thanks. You can drop by UA and relax. I will talk with Nizu. That will be appreciated. After they were done, Deku met up with his in-laws. They were happy to see him alive. And Deku thanks his therapist for going with his plan. No, Limitless. Thank you. Deku just smiled. And they can visibly see that he's tired, so they told him to take a shower and rest. You earned it. Deku nodded and he got dragged by Nijire to the room, and he remarked that there is a lot of Nijire's clothes there, more than usual. So she told him ever since his death, she stayed here. This is the last thing that she can think of to stay close to him. Deku kissed her and apologized for scaring her again. She hugged back and told him, let's go take a shower, and after that, we need our rest. We had a tough fight, and I think we still have a lot more ahead of us. Deku nod, they had a shower. After that, they go to bed, they cuddle, and they sleep. They did nothing, by the way. And while they're doing that, Lady Nagant went to UA. Nizu was expecting her, so he gave her a place to stay. Snipe was surprised to see her here, and asked her how. One word, Izuku. That explains a lot, he replied. The next day, Shigaraki, Toga, and Dabi were taken to villain rehab. but the others were taken to prison because they were villains before joining the League of Villains. But because of their help, they get a reduced sentence. But before they went, Dabi did have his reunion with his family. They were happy to see him, and that makes Shigaraki smile. At least he have a family. Deku sit beside him and tell him, well, I cannot bring them back, but I can let you talk with your grandma if you want. Shigaraki's eyes widen. What? What do you mean? You can talk to the dead? Not quite. Follow me. He did. Then Deku called for Mirio, Gran Torino, and All Might, and by using his power, they let them meet Nana Shimura. The trio were shocked and in tears to see her. All Might apologized for failing her, but she put her hand on his shoulder and tell him, it's okay, Toshi. You did your best. Yes, you did some mistakes along the road, but you try your best to fix them. Then she looked at Gran Torino. It's been a while, old friend. It looks like that. You're getting shorter by each passing day. Gran Torino sighed. Still the same, huh? She smiled. Then she looked at Tenko. She slowly walked toward him and tell him, Tenko? Shigaraki looked at her and nodded. She tear up a bit and apologize. So they hug, they cry, and they talk for a bit, and while they're doing that, the previous users of One For All walk to Deku and thank him for doing that. For doing something that they couldn't have done. It's okay, it was not your job to do. Someone had to do it. And it was in my power, so I did it. They understand, but they thank him once again. But not going to lie, it still amazes me that right now you have a power far beyond One For All. Plus, I guess that perfected limit break is your limit. Deku looked at his hand and tell him, maybe, maybe not. Because it is, for now. They looked at him in shock. For now, Deku looked back and smirked. I was not given the title of Limitless for nothing. If there is a limit I can reach it, I will go beyond it. As long as my body can withstand it and I have the drive to do it, I will grow stronger. The previous users looked at each other in shock, then they sigh. Well, let's hope that your friend Mirio will be able to keep up. Deku laughed a bit and tell them, well, I hope so too. It's good having a rival like him. And after they are done, Nana thanked him for everything. Shigaraki, All Might, and Gran Torino thank him for doing that. Deku just smiled. After that, they met up with Miss All Might. She congratulated Deku on doing a fine job. And not going to lie, Limitless, if you weren't there, I doubted that we could have won. Now I understand why the villains are really thankful that you are a hero, not a villain. Deku just smiled. Let's hope with this they will learn that to not judge a book by his cover, and do not treat people based on their quirk. Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, we need to go back, so it's been nice seeing ya. Wait, before you go, can you wait for a bit? She nodded. Deku went and returned with a notebook. He wrote something on it and gave it to her. What's this? She asked. Every villain that have connection with All For One in the US. Every hero's eyes widen. What? She took the notebook and saw there is names, quirks, and general location, and a sketch on how they look. Her jaw dropped and asked him, how? Well, I have a small technique that most people don't know. I can read minds. Wait, what? Deku nodded. By touching someone, I can read their minds. So do you remember when I touched All For One? She nodded and she understands. So that's how you get it. Deku nodded. But to make sure that no one know about it, keep it under wraps, okay? She nods. I understand. Keeping your cards close to your chest? Deku nodded. But who would have thought that All For One have connection in US? Actually, he have connections all around the world. They were shocked and they asked him if he knew where they are. Deku nodded. Like this notebook, I have general location where they are. It will take some time to write everything out because there is a lot, so hey, take all the time that you need. It's not every day where the heroes can have the upper hand on the villains. True, true. So they form a plan with Stripes going to US, confirming if there is actually villains there, like Deku described, and let's be honest, it's Deku, so they must be real. So they will decide on basically going around the world, informing the heroes there and giving them the location of the villains, completely erasing all one trace on the world. And by the way, they are inside the room, so privacy. So after they were done, they go the separate ways, and while they're walking outside, the people start cheering for Deku. But some of them comment that it's good to have an honest hero on our side. If there is more people like him, this apocalypse will never happen. And that really angers Deku. He called out for everyone and tell them, what do you mean? Everyone is at fault at this. Not only the heroes, but also you, the civilians. They were shocked and tell him, what do you mean? Really? Do you really think that someone is born a villain? This society, or you, are making the same villains. You treat people judging by their quirks. If they have a good quirk, boom, instantly famous. If they have a weak quirk, you can do whatever you want to them. And if they have a quirk that will change their appearance, they're instantly monsters. So don't blame the heroes, you're also at blame for this. Some of them understand what he means, but some start yelling at him and tell him, we don't do that, so don't judge us the same. Really? So now you are just hypocrites. You're using the same thing as heroes, putting everyone as fakes, just because they fought someone stronger than them. Don't you think because I was away, that means I was not aware of what is happening? I know about the fakes quitting, and I can understand your reaction, but your hate for the other heroes that stood by, just why? Why? You people are morons. The heroes are putting their life on the line for you, just to put you at ease. And you on the other hand, what do? Give them praise? No. You hate them as well. Whatever they do, it's still not enough for you. And at the end they quit because they can't deal with you. And look now, more than half the real heroes quit just because of you. The majority of the villains outside want one thing, to be accepted the way they are. They did not have a choice to accept that quirk or not. But all of you did not care. You treat them as monsters until they become one. And in my eyes, all of you are more guilty of this war more than the heroes. Most of them understand and look down in shame, but there is still some entitled people between them, and they speak up and tell him, and where were you when everything was happening? You are just hiding while everyone was fighting. And that really pissed Deku off. So now you're calling me a coward? Do you really think that I had a choice? Then the ground starts shaking. Don't you think that I really want to be close to my loved ones, reassuring them that everything will be okay? Don't you think that I want to tell them that I'm still alive? Answer me! Then Deku power up, his aura burst open. And for the first time in their life, they saw and understand what the villains can see. They saw Deku power up and fighting villains, but this is the first time they are on the receiving end of it. And Deku slowly is increasing from 100% base to 10% limit break and slowly going up. And do you really want to know what I was doing the past 3 months? Tell me something. Don't you find it a bit weird that during the prison break, none of the guards were killed? None of them. We are talking about the strongest villains in Japan, and they are escaping, and none of the guards were killed? Use their brains. And I know some of you cannot understand, so let me explain. I was the one who was saving them. I couldn't rest blowing my cover, that's why I only healed them enough to keep them alive. They were hurt, yes. Alive, also yes. Then Deku looked at the crowd and saw someone he recognized. And you. Then Deku tell him how he was a couple of months ago. He was getting attacked by a villain, then suddenly something fell on the villain, knocking him out. And Deku tell him that he was the one who was doing that. Most of you here are alive because of me, because the hero that you guys are calling a coward. On top of that, then Deku grab his shirt and take it off or just turn it to shred, revealing that there is a lot of scars on his body. The people still remember his body from Kamino, and these scars look new. I was training my butt off for 3 months. I knew that somehow All For One was still keeping tabs on me, that's why I faked my death. And I know that he's planning something, and I don't have a lot of time. That's why for the past 3 months, I pushed my body beyond its limits. Every workout ended up with me on the ground, and every muscle, every bone in my body was begging me to stop. All of this to stop All For One, to stop this nightmare, while you lot are begging for help and at the same time berating the heroes. Let me tell you something that all of you know already. When you die, you will take nothing with you. You heard me? Nothing. The only thing that you will still have is your conscience. That's why I don't care who you are, and I don't care what you think of me. I will always do what's right, helping people as much as I can, no matter what they are, heroes, civilians, or villains. And for you, you can do whatever you want. I don't need your praise, but I will not accept your hate. Some of them try to apologize. Deku tell them, save it. I have work to do. Deku turned around only to see the other heroes standing behind him. What are you doing here? He asked them. Well, waiting for you. Like you said, we have a job to do. Deku smiled and they told him that I think you need to put on your new hero costume. Deku nodded. By the way, Nijire know about the scars from last night. And he told her that he can remove them anytime he wants, but for now, he wants to keep them. So after that the heroes do their job and, like I said, clean the city. It took them a few months to be able to do that, but eventually they were able to clean the streets. But something unexpected happened. Doing their cleaning, they encounter Stain, and rather than fighting him, Deku have a talk with him. In it, Deku tell him that he understands his ideology and he can go behind it, but killing heroes or anyone without serious proof is not right. On top of that, he already hurt a lot of good heroes, not only fakes. So he basically betrayed his own ideology. Stain realized that a while back because this is not the first time he met up with Deku and they talk. It happened a couple of months ago, and just like Shigaraki, after talking to him, Deku just let Stain be, give him some time to think. For trying to redeem himself in his eyes, he doesn't care about other people. He will help them clean the street. After that, put him behind bars. The heroes are a bit spectacle, but not going to lie, they need the help as much as they can because even if Deku is strong, he's still one man. So after they put the last villain behind bars, Deku sit down and let out a sigh. It's finally over. Nijire approach him. Good work. You should rest. You did a lot. Not that much. Izuku, Nijire looked at him annoyed. Fine, you're right. I did work more than other people. And that is an understatement, she replied. Not every hero can say that he was able to change the mind of two villains and make them help him. Well, I am limitless after all. Nijire smiled. So you finally accepted the name? Yes, I did. But I'm still questioning who gave you that title. Isn't it obvious, Nijire? My mom. Really? Nijire asked. Deku nod. Do you remember the trip before UA? She nod. Back then we had a little conversation about my power and I basically told her that what I can do with it is basically limitless. Oh, Deku nod. That's why I'm taking it. And it's fair because you did name my technique, Limit Break, so I guess she have the right of naming my hero name. Nijire can understand. After that, time went on, and like Deku told them, because it's the end of the year, he was done with UA. So after that we fast forward a couple of years. During this time, Deku and Nijire get used to living together, so they are living together. And by the way, Nijire did ask him about his stellar judgment, and ask him if he really was outside in space. Deku nodded and he told her yes and no, because I cannot go too far. And I can do that by using my barrier around me. I was able to basically fly through space, but it was a really powerful barrier than before, and thicker so she can withstand the vacuum of space. It was a gamble, but I knew that if I want a powerful attack that can blindside all for one, I need to go that far. And Nijire tell him, next time you go flying through space, take me with you. Deku laughed a bit and he agreed. After that, 1A graduated and become heroes, and for Deku and after everything that happened, he somewhat forgive Bakugo. They are not friends, but they are not enemies. And Deku did adopt Eri when he became 18. They could have done it before with Nijire adopting her, but it was not safe outside. Plus they're still rebuilding, so they decide to let her in UA until everything is fixed, or mostly. After 2 years of hard work from Deku and Nijire and the rest, I think they can do it. So with this we fast forward a few years. During this time, Shigaraki was done with his villain rehab. Same for the other two. Toko's family tried to approach her and apologize. She somewhat understand, but not really, so she told them to stay away from her. The rest of the League of Villains were let out from the prison and they reunite with their friends. So at this time Deku is 22, so 4 years has passed. So Deku is 22 and Nijire is 24 and Eri is like 12. And Deku thought that she's old enough, so he started teaching her on how to use her ki. So needless to say, Eri will be strong. As strong as Deku, I don't know, because I don't think that Nijire will let them train that hard. So fast forward a bit, and one day during their vacation, Deku decided to take his little family to the beach. And one night, Deku asked Nijire if she's okay with walking for a bit. They went to the beach and walk. Then Deku asked her if she remembered this place. She think by putting one finger on her chin and tilted her head. Deku smiled, still the same Nijire. Then he tell her that this is the beach when we first have our little vacation. Me, you and Ryuku right before UA. Oh yeah, now I remember. You see, Deku told her, even if this place have bad memories because we get attacked here, it also have really good ones. In this place, I was given my second chance. And I also realized that I have already fell in love with you. Nijire blushed, even though after all these years, Deku still can make her blush. Then Deku continue. So I thought this is the perfect place where I can begin my next chapter. She gave him a question look, Deku smiled, go down on one knee, and Nijire understand. And I want you to be there with me. So I know we talked about this a while back, but I want to do it properly. Then Deku took out a box, Nijire Hado, will you marry me? She cried, she said yes, he put the ring on her finger, again. She kissed him, and after they were done, they told their families the good news. They were happy for them, even though they were acting like a couple for a couple of years now. And after that, they get married, you know the drill. And during their wedding, they invite everyone that they know, even the League of Villains, and Deku's old co-workers, especially his boss. But for him, Deku asked him if he can take the role of his dad because, well, except Ryuko, he was the first adult that actually treated him right and taught him a few things about life. The boss teared up a bit and accepted his offer. And after a while, Deku have a crazy idea that Nijire found it adorable and she supported him. He called Shigaraki and tell him that he will open an orphanage and he wants him to run it. They both know how hard it is to live alone as a kid in the streets. Shigaraki accepts, plus he's not a fighter like Deku, so that role suit him a lot. And Deku also helped the League of Villains finding jobs. And for Lady Negan, she's actually working with Deku in his agency. She likes working under him because she can trust him. And unbeknownst to everyone, except for Deku's close friends, Deku is training some people on how to use ki. If he found someone worthy enough, he will teach him if he want. He mainly train kids or teenagers, so with that he will make sure that the future will be safe with the next generation. And by the way, I forgot to mention, he's #1 hero for a couple of years now. Nijire is the third, and Mirio is the second. He's always competing with Deku, so when they have free time they always spar. And think about it, Mirio have one for all, his ki and his quirk. Deku have his limit break power and ultra instinct, or a bit of it. So both of them are strong and basically untouchable. And for ultra instinct, I think it will take some years for Deku to actually learn it. So it will not happen anytime soon. And by the way, since he's #1 hero, he have his agency with Nijire. And because being him quirkless and being the #1 hero, a lot of quirkless kids look up to him. And people know that he can be really ruthless, especially when he see that someone is getting punished without reason or getting bullied. So not only he make people feel safe, they are also afraid of him. A perfect balance, just like it should be. And for him, he's still growing in strength, and he's been the hero that he always wanted to be. And when he's done, he's welcomed by his family, Eri, Nijire, and his newborn. Deku hug all three of them and tell them, I already told you this, but I will say it again. I will always protect you guys. Nijire kissed him and tell him, and I'll always have your back. Deku smile, I love you. Love you too. And with this, I'm going to stop it right here. It was a journey, almost like 11 months. But this is where the story ends. I know some of you guys wanted more, but I think this is a good point we're ending it. Deku have everything that he wants to. A family, and he's a hero and he's helping everyone that is in the same boat as him, or the boat that he was in. So thank you guys for sticking with me through the end. I'm glad that you enjoy every single part of this story, and even though this is the last part of this story, let's give it a good farewell and let's try reaching 600 likes. And like always guys, if you are new, subscribe, there's more videos like this coming, and see you in next What If. Peace.